cover the remainder of the course. And before going to that part of the course, let us just briefly go through what we did in the last two sessions. Right. So the very first session was just gave you the brief of Power Platform and its components, and we also discussed about the features. And one of the major features being the connectors that we have and the Dataverse, right? So Dataverse is something that we have been using in our labs also for connecting and creating database and then retrieving data from that particular database, right? So that is one of the connectors. Apart from that, there are other services also that we could connect to, and we came to know what are the different types of application that we can create, the format of application, whether it is a Canvas app or model driven app or a portal app, right? And then we also went ahead with creating a Canvas app and a model driven app, right? So while creating those applications, while going through the labs, we came across a problem statement that was actually causing the problem for a college to maintain its visits, right? So what we did was, taking that problem statement into consideration, we created an environment, then later on created or devised a model where we can save data in a particular table, right? And how did this database is getting saved? It was happening in the Dataverse, right? So in the Dataverse, we could create the table, we defined the schema also, and based on that schema, we created table and these attributes. Once the tables were created, we could populate those data with the already existing data that we had previously, right? So we made use of some resources that were already there as a part of this lab building, right? So there was this file called visits.xlx, right? So it was an Excel file that we used as a raw file for our application. So we loaded that file and retrieved the relevant columns from the file and then created a table and filled it, right? Later on, we used the same file or same database to actually work with that data. Just give me a minute. This is my slide. All right. Sorry for the disturbance. All right. So then what we did was we loaded this data and then we created two different types of, right. So in Canvas application, although it could be done with direct plain normal canvas, what we did was we just used a template which retrieved data by its own, right. So it retrieved some data and showed to us. What we could do there was change some styling, change some position of elements later on, and then give some aesthetic look to that, right. So we change the theme and etc. What was not in our control was in Canvas app, what was not in our control was the data that we show on the screen, right. So the views that was created was not governed by us, okay. But that is not the case with model driven app, right. So what did we see in model driven app? We could select what needs to be shown. We could create gallery that has columns based on our interest, and we created views based on that, right. So yesterday we created two entries for a visit that is one done on 4th of March and one done on 5th of March, so that we can see all the visits that were created and the visits that were there for today, right. So we created a different view for today's view, right. So that was the things that we did. Now what we want to do is, now let us come back to today's session, right. So the idea of today's session is to cover next components of Power Platform fundamentals, and that would be to incorporate automation into the services, right. So what we want to do is, we will recognize some business processes and we'll try to add automation to that, okay. And that too we can try to do with the application that we have already created, and we'll see, can a process involved in this application be automated, right. So that is one thing we'll try to do, and for that we'll try to go into details of the third component of Power Platform, that is Power Automate, right. So first we'll be going into the theory, and then later on we'll be going into the lab, okay. Once that is done, we are more or less done with the application. As far as the application logic is concerned, as far as the processes are concerned, we are done. Okay, now how do we use this application or the data that is being stored in this application to leverage or to optimize the application, right? Or to take better decisions, right? So for that, what we need some kind of visualization of the data, so that we take the past data, visualize it, bring some insight, and make certain decisions, right? So for that, what we'll be using, we will be going through the fourth component of this course, that is Power BI. Okay, and later on we'll try to create a dashboard with the help of that, right? And the final part of this course would be the fourth component, that is Power Virtual Agents, right? So this will be generally used to create chatbots that adds artificial intelligence to this to the artificial intelligence component to the application, and it is very user specific and it is very application specific, right? So let's see how deep we can go into these topics. Okay, I'll just start sharing my screen. Okay, so is my screen visible? Let us open the. Yeah. So what I'll do is, like yesterday, I'll just minimize this, and I hope the screen is now visible. Do I need to maximize it more? No need, is it? Okay. So I'll keep the size this way, and then if there is no, if something is not visible, something is very small, I'll keep on zooming, like just as we did yesterday. All right. So we'll start off with Power Automate. Okay. So before going to Power Automate, what is the need of actually Power Automate, right? So we create business ideas, or there are certain businesses which require regularly downloading of email attachment, right? Let us consider that there is a regular downloading of email attachment. We need to download something from the emails and then keep on uploading it somewhere so that it is get saved, it is getting archived, right? So it is a daily task that we are trying to do. Or let's say there is a purchase order and I want to get it approved. Okay, I want to get it approved with some authority. Okay, I need to pass it to authority and do actions based on what is done by the authority, whether it is approved or not. If it is approved, what should be done? If it is not approved, what should be done? Okay, so this is again a regular activity that that happens generally in a business. Okay, or the other thing, or the other case that we can think of is, I open a website, I open, let's say, online degree website, work on it, right? And then there are so many mails that are coming, so many queries that are coming. We need to take those queries and save it somewhere, right? So, and the queries that are happening are, being taken every day. So this is like a regularized task. What if I want to automate this? What if I don't need to really look into this every day and create a process that does that for me, right? So this is where Power Automate comes in. Okay. I need to change the slide. Yeah. So agenda of this piece of slide is to give you an idea of what Power Automate is, right? What value it adds, and second, we'll try to build up an automated solution, or what are the steps that are required to create an automated solution, right? All right. So in this module, where we are highlighting the where we are highlighting the value of Power Automate, we need to look at what business values and what features it adds, right, and how it works. Okay. All right. So when we go through this, there is a set of scenarios that we need to look at, right? What are these scenarios? These are automating repetitive tasks, some of which I have just mentioned, right, 2 minutes before. Okay, guiding a user through a process. Okay, so when you understand a business process, you might want other people who will later work on this process to understand how the process goes, right? So when we want somebody else to understand a process, we need to give them a flow chart, right? So here Power Automate and the actions that were done one below the other can act as a flow chart. What needs to be done next, right? Connecting to external data sources, right? So one of the scenario is you take data from a particular website and save it in your database. So connection to that database is required. Connection to that external website is required so that we can retrieve the data, right? So we will also require some inbuilt features of Microsoft, inbuilt applications within the Microsoft, or some third-party applications, so that we can connect to them and retrieve data, right? And later on, we can automate desktop-based processes. So what do we understand by desktop-based processes? Let's say every day I open an application. Okay, uh, I do some task in that application. I export some data from that application and save it in my drive. Okay, all these things are happening in my desktop. Okay, opening an application every day, working with it, storing some data, exporting the data, and saving it in the drive. Okay, can I automate this? Okay, so this is desktop based processes, and we'll try to automate this with the help of Power Automate, or what component of Power Automate will try to do that for us. Okay, this is something we'll look at. Font color bar. No, I tried that. I cannot remove it. It is part of slide. I don't know how to do that. Sorry. Uh, somebody knows how to remove this. Just let me know, because I haven't been able to do that. Okay, let us move ahead. Okay, what I'll do is I'll rather zoom it. Okay, so it's gone now. Okay. Okay, so on the right side of this slide, you can see there is Power Apps, there is Get Manager V2. I mean, we are looking at Outlook application. So we are connecting with within the Microsoft Universe application, and then waiting for some approval and doing something. Right? We'll go into details of this. This is how a process is created. Okay, in the next slide, we'll see what Power Automate actually offers. Okay, so the very first thing is automation at scale. What does that mean? It allows automation at every level and every level of employee. Okay, so let's say there are IT professionals, okay, who are actually working with the application of that particular business, the data of that particular business, who handle the websites, who handle the IT part of the websites, right? And there can be employees who are actually taking some core part, taking care of some core part of that business, right? Who may not be very well acquainted with the technical terms in terms of IT. Okay. Power Automate allows each of them to create their own processes. Okay, because a small business, a person who's a frontline worker of that business might not know all the IT information technology involved, but might know how the business process is set. Okay, so that defining that process is very important. And Power Automate by itself allows even an employee to that level to actually automate something. Okay, then there is seamless secure integration. What does this give us? This seamless and secure integration gives us to integrate all the processes individually created at a different levels, right? So there will be a process created at frontline level, there will be a process created at IT level. There needs to be some integration which can then act as action or trigger. What is this? We'll talk about. Okay, accelerated productivity. Definitely, if I'm automating certain things, I don't need to look for everyday task in that way. First thing. Secondly, there is the process will never stop for any approval. Right. So since it is an automated process, it won't stop for any manual intervention. That is the reason there will be accelerated productivity. Okay, and then based on some processes, certain process might require some intelligent action to be taken that can be done with the help of AI. All right, so we talked about the same AI will be used in Power Apps. All right, and we talked about what are the components that are already present in a Microsoft universe. Right, we'll also see a slide based on that later. Okay, now to best understand how a process works, or how we can use automate to study the process, it is good to understand the same process with the help of approval example. Okay, because approvals at any stage might require manual or human interventions, right? So let us start with this, reading out this statement, right? A user starts the process by going into Power Apps app and creating a purchase order request. So that is something that is being done by Power Apps. Okay. Once they submit the request, the information is sent to Power Automate flow. Okay. So something is happening at Power Apps, and then the request, the purchase order request that created with the help of Power Apps is now going to Power Automate, so that something can be done as a part of process. Okay. The flow can be built to evaluate the request. So request is created by Power Apps. Now we need to create a flow that evaluates the request. Okay, and based on certain criteria like user and request amount, it will take certain further actions. Okay, so let us read this out. The flow can be built to evaluate the request and then route the request based on criteria such as submitting user and request amount. All right, the first action could be to send the request to users manager, and users manager meaning someone who is already a registered record in some database, right? That is the reason we can say that the manager could be automatically retrieved from Azure Active Directory. So AD stands for Active Directory, which is nothing but again something that is related to database. Okay, so instead of creating a new object somewhere that would result in redundancy, what we'll do is we will retrieve the same object from a database wherever it is stored. Okay, so that is allowing us to create, preventing us from creating duplications and retrieving the object from database, same object, right? So this is how the purchase order approval flow looks like, right? So what we are trying to do here, I'll zoom in into the screen, but what are we trying to do here? The approval first goes to the manager, okay, and the manager approves it. Okay, manager can either approve it or reject it. So there are two processes involved here. One is the request coming from Power Apps, and then going into the process which requires manager to approve it, right? So whether the manager can approve it or can reject it. All right, now there are one more conditional thing involved. What is that? If the request order is greater than $10,000, not only manager but also vice president needs to give an approval. Okay, if it is less than $10,000, it will be only manager's approval will suffice. That is the thing. So that we are trying to do. So what we want to do, we are trying to create a flow chart. If this, then what? If that, then what? And the way we create flow chart is the way we create process or automation flow in Power Automate. Okay, let me just try to zoom in into the screen. Okay, so you can, I hope you can see the screen. Okay, so ask manager for approval. So this is one task that we are setting, the first course of action in our process, right? So the outcome is coming from Power Apps. All right, now this needs to be approved from the manager. Okay, if the manager agrees, then further action will be taken. But if he does not approve, the what needs to be done? What is done actually? Email is not approved. This acknowledgement needs to be sent to the request or whoever who made the request, right? If yes, what will happen? There will arise two conditions. What are those two conditions? Just give me a minute. Yeah. So what are those two conditions? If the check is over $10,000, send it to vice president for approval. Okay. If it is less than $10,000, only manager can approve or reject it and leave it as it is. Okay. So you can see there condition is greater than 10,000. All right. So this is how we create processes. This is how we create the checkpoints through which the complete process goes on. Right. So if the check request is over 10,000, then it will go to vice president, and then vice president will decide whether to approve it or not. Okay. But then if it is less than 10,000, it will be it is already approved, right? Why? Because it is in the yes column, right? So it has already been approved and the process will terminate, right? And then you will get the email of acknowledgement. What is the acknowledgement email here? The email is approved, right? So this is how we create process in Power Automate. All right, let me just zoom out back. So this is just an example. We will do it real time with the help of lab. This is just an example that shows or that gives us an understanding of how do we go through various test cases. Yes, if yes, what to do, if no, what to do, and then create the process. All right. Now there are three types of flows. Now when we go with the process, we need to define what flow in which this process will happen. Okay, so there are three types of flows based on which we create the process. First is cloud flows. Okay, so these are based on APIs, third-party APIs, right? Something that is requiring third-party data or third-party API to get triggered. Okay. The second is business process flows. So business process flows are those flows that take that are done with the help of model-driven apps. Okay. So we created model-driven apps that was based on the data, right? Complete data that we created, and we ourselves could manage what needs to be shown and what views to be created. Based on that, we can define flows. So such flows are called as business process flows. Okay. And the third flow is desktop flows. Okay. So the one which I mentioned a couple of minutes back about desktop based processes, right? So here I'm doing everything offline in my machine, or everything is being done online on a browser. There has to be certain flow which I have been following. Okay. So what is this RPA? This RPA stands for robotic process automation. All right. So what we are trying to say here is there is a desktop flow, meaning there is a process that I do every day on my desktop. That process being I open an application. It can be anything. I'm just giving an example. I can open an application, work with that application, manage some data, export it, and save it. Right. So what I can do is I can employ robotic process automation, which will with the help of recording of this video, whatever I've been doing, it can try to understand what are the components, right? What are the components in this process? Okay, opening the application, working with data, export data, and save it somewhere. So these can be the four possible trigger points which I can look for this process, right? So this will be recorded by RPA, and then a flow can be created with the help of that, right? So these are the three different flows that we have seen. All right. Now we'll go into instant automated and schedule later. So I'm not going into details of that at this point. Okay. And now we'll talk about what artificial intelligence has to do with uh, automate. Right. So we know these are the four models we currently have in the Microsoft universe, right? So it is form processor, object detector, prediction, text classification. Our business model will mostly use prediction model, right? Because we need to take business decisions, and they are either yes or no, right? Whether something should be done or should not be done. Okay. So these are the AI models that are already there, machine learning models that are already there. Every time I want to take a shelter of AI capabilities, I would use any of these models based on what I want to do, right? Even the Power Virtual Agents do this, right? Make the use of AI. Power Apps, if I want to add some artificial intelligence component, I'll make use of these models. Power Automate, if some process needs to be automated with the help of AI, I'll make use of these models, right? So these models are everywhere. Next, I mean, there is a customer case study. You can read the full case study in the content also, and I guess there is the link here also. You'll get the slides and you can go through. So what basically they have done is True Green Technologies. What they have done is they have 5 pathways they need to follow. One is self-serve, innovation, data, digitize internally, and digital marketing. All right. So these are the 5 broad things that they want to do. Now, that is done with the help of Power Automate. So they created their applications with the help of Power Apps, right? And use the data, that this data-driven business, right? So they use this data to actually add AI component, and they created chatbots, right? So they used 3 things here: Power Apps, Power Automates, and Power Virtual Agents. They use these 3 things from the Microsoft Power Platform, and then they created certain apps. They added that apps into a process, and also created a chatbot. Okay, so with the help of chatbot, what did they do was they made a list of regular customers separately, and with the help of chatbots and whatever decisions were taken in the form of data they had, they could predict what needs to be or how they can serve their regular customers with the help of chatbots, right? So if there is a new customer, they would intervene, but if there is a regular customer who has already taken orders or interacted with this True Green, they have directed all those customers to the chatbots. So this is how they could distribute their customers based on the category of customer and do things accordingly, right? A detailed description of this case study is already given, so won't go into details of this. All right. Next, we'll go to how to build an automated solution. Meaning, if I want to automate some process, what steps do I need to follow? Right. So in this module, in the continued module, what you will understand is how do we create a flow from a template, right? So just as creating a Canvas application, when I wanted to create a Canvas application, I could either choose a blank canvas or I can choose a template, right? Why? Because templates are those examples which are frequently used, right? So if anyway I want to create an application, my application data or my application view would be very similar to already used some previously application, right? So therefore, Microsoft had given good time on it and created templates so that users don't need to create everything from scratch. All right. So these templates are quite comprehensive. We will see them in the labs, right? But what is the base idea? You need to create a flow with the help of template. Okay. You can create a flow from a blank page also. Just bring in your actions here. So for that, what is required? A good understanding of the application, right? Power automation, how things work, and how do I add certain processes. Okay. But if I don't know that, if I'm at the beginner stage, we'll do that with the help of template. All right. Then we will understand how recurring flow on a schedule is created. Okay. So sending daily emails, downloading some documents every day, all these require automation that is happening on daily basis, right? And the time is somewhere similar. So why not create a schedule and automate the process, right? Create a flow triggered by a button. So basically what we're talking about some triggers who will actually initiate the action, right? Where or when or how frequently this action needs to be initiated, right? We'll talk into that. There is a slide on that. We'll talk about actions and triggers also. But what we are exactly doing with scheduling and buttons and process flows, we are specifying when a particular process should start and what should happen. That's all, right? The final part will be we'll understand business process flows. So how business process flows happen, right? So we have indirectly discussed about business process flows, right? So I mean, defining what the business is, what exactly do we need to do, and what are the components which will act as trigger and create actions. Okay, let us move ahead. All right. So when we try to create a flow with the template, you can see in the Power Automate window, you will see a lot of templates created, right? So if I minutely zoom into this, yeah, so I can see that there are templates. So it's like using some it's like using camera, Power Apps, Cloud, and some time because we are doing with schedule, right? In here, getting today's weather forecast for my current location. So you need a component of weather, you need location, and you need some uh, uh, reminder, right? Here also we are doing some location, time, schedule, and then the reminder. So all these things are a set of applications, set of services that you would use for creating a particular process. All right. So if you see here, start approval when a new item is added, right? So here, what is the action? New item being added. That is the trigger, right? Once a new item is added, we will set a number of actions. So what will happen? This is the Power App, right? So Power App get creating the item. Okay. With the help of Power App, that item is getting added into the process, which will then trigger the following actions. What are the following actions? You go to the Outlook and be able to mail the person, right? So that are the things. And then other things are approval, related to approval. Okay, so all these templates are designed or created based on the previous combination of services. Okay, let me zoom it out. Okay, so these are the things. So once we will create the process, we will create a flow to save email attachment to OneDrive for business. So this is what we will be using. Okay, let us go ahead. All right. So this is what I was talking about, right? So the important concept that we need to understand or keep in mind while using Power Automate is the understanding and differentiation between a trigger and action. Okay. A trigger is something that will initiate an action. Now, what that trigger can be, it can by itself be an action, right? addition of a new record in database is just an action. Okay, but is this going to trigger some other actions? Yes, it can, right? So if it is doing that, this addition of new record in the database can act as a trigger doing something, right? Then there can be scheduled triggers, right? So I want to send a daily email at 8 a.m. in the morning. So once it is 8 a.m., this 8 a.m. time can act as a trigger to send the email. So that is the action, right? So you can think, I mean, you can read this out. Think of a trigger as a starting action for a flow, and actions are what you want to happen when a trigger is in. Okay, and then there are other things where and how these actions will happen. Okay, so these actions can happen in loops, right? So until a certain number is achieved, or until the all the customers are sent emails, this email is being sent on a loop, right? Switch. So there is a trigger that can switch between two different tasks, right? So what are the two different tasks? We can take example of that same approval, right? Either it is yes or no. Okay, so that was based on condition. So that condition is acting as a trigger, which is switching the task. Okay, do until. Do until can be taken as an opposite to do while, right? So do while happens when something is true, but do until happens unless the truth doesn't appear, right? So when something is false, do it and keep doing it till the statement becomes true. So it is until, do until. Okay, apply to each, doesn't matter. Once the action is triggered, you apply same process to every other, I mean same action to every other process. All right, and the final one is expressions. So expression is what I meant by adding a record in the database. So all these things are nothing but an expression. Okay, so they don't define a particular process. They can be anything, like some function dependent, right? Expression are very similar to functions. Okay, right. So let us go into more details of trigger. All right, so what can trigger be? Who can act as a trigger when something changes, right? So I said that a new record getting added into database can act as a trigger, right? These are triggers that run when the data is changed, right? When something changes, some action will happen. So that change in something can act as a trigger. Okay, on a schedule. So everyday task, right? And a button press. So I can trigger action by myself explicitly, right? Manually. If I want something to happen now itself, I just click on the button and it will happen. Okay, it won't wait for something to get added into database, or it won't wait for that time to arrive, right? It will happen instantly when I trigger it on a button press. So it is a manual trigger. All right. Now we'll talk into the different flows that we saw in API or cloud-based flows, right? So there is scheduled flow, again, which is similar to, I mean, we are going into details of this, which I just said, and they are nothing but flows. If I go back to the screen, this one, right? So cloud flows, APIs are nothing but automated when something happens, right? Scheduled at particular time, and instant meaning button press. Okay, so now we are going into details of key button. Yeah, first is the schedule flow, which will happen with time. So you can see the interface where you're actually doing the starting time, date, time. Okay, and then you also give the frequency with which it should happen. Okay, and what are the days where it will happen. Okay, so this all can be this all data needs to be provided as a schedule. So I can just create an email and make it a schedule so that it goes every week or every end of the week once, right? Okay, let us move ahead with button. So button is nothing but triggered or instantly, right? You want to trigger something to happen, click on button and it will start happening. The process will initiate. Okay, and now we'll go with the business process flow. So business process flow is nothing but you are setting up the business process, and then you know what are the checkpoints, right? What can act as a triggers for the subsequent actions. Okay, so this is a good understanding. Having a good understanding of business will help you to create a better business. All right, so if I am a person who is taking care of sending emails to all the employees every day, at the end of the day I should know when the day ends, I mean when the shift ends, and I should know what is the content of email. So that is letting me to set actually the flow of this particular process, right? So with this, we can go ahead with lab. But before going to lab, I just want to take some doubts. Okay, so if there are just any doubt, you can just raise your hand. I'll ask you to unmute. Ajit? Okay. Anyone else? Any doubt? I mean, see, we are going through the content and you can see the lot of things are getting repeated. Schedule flows, button flows, everything is there, right? Yes, Ashik. I'm really sorry for the background noise. There's some music going on in the background. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it's okay, sir. Yeah, so I had it out that am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so as we know that this power application and power automation is as you said, it is limited for Microsoft, right? So is there any option for this to be used in other ecosystems like Google and all? As in the automation here.
Definitely. See, I mean, I said that, see, it works well because there is the same environment, right? If the environment remains same, everything will work with very good synchrony. That is okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have talked about two things. One is API based, right? So that API can be third party APIs, right? Triggering some process.
Right.
Okay. So indirectly, you are having a third party component in your process. So your Power Apps will Power Automate will anyway work.
Okay.
The
sure.
second thing is desktop based process. Okay, so we talked about this, right?
Yes, sir, yeah.
It's not changing. Yeah, desktop flows or desktop based process. So it is actually, what is it doing? I'm trying to get what process I do manually on desktop with the help of some video recording or internal recording happening, screen recording as we call it, right?
Yeah.
And then pass it on into this RPA, robotic process automation, so that with the help of AI, it will retrieve out the checkpoints. What I'm doing, I mentioned 4 checkpoints in the process, right? That I was doing in desktop.
Yes, sir.
So this is a completely external process, and you're using Power Automate to do this.
Right. So in short, automation can be done for all other platforms as well. Cross platforming is allowed, but then it is convenient to use Microsoft tools because it is more compatible, somewhat like that, right?
Yeah, you can call it. Yeah, but it will still work efficiently with other processes also. Why? Because Power Apps is just a component that can be a part of process, right? So if you go to this slide where we were discussing about, give me a minute, approvals, right? Here.
Yeah.
So in the approvals, we want to send the request or purchase order request for approval to manager. Okay. Who is creating this purchase order request? Power Apps. Okay.
Yes.
So this Power Apps, as you can see in the complete process, is just one stage of the process.
Right.
This can be replaced with any other application. Okay. That can act as a trigger.
Sure. Got it, sir.
All right. Yeah. So that can be done. So it is highly compatible.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Anyone else? Okay. So if there are no more doubts, let us let us now dive into the lab. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll open the same lab that we did yesterday and I launch it. And since I saved it there itself, it should be, let us see. Yeah, so it should resume from the same place. Yes, Sharan.
Hey, good morning, sir. One question. So let's say the trigger of my process is an email coming into my inbox in Outlook. Okay, can happen anytime.
Right.
Is that doable?
Yeah, definitely. So that is a trigger. In a mail coming into the inbox can act as a trigger for a process. Definitely.
so we can configure who is it coming from, like what are all the deciding factors if that email is a trigger or not, right? Then
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
We can do that.
okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah. So, and since you are saying Outlook, it is directly, I mean, there, right? So you can very
Yeah.
easily configure it.
I was thinking, it's my personal email. So if the app can access that, I'm a little confused. Like, should we create a service account and direct the email to that service account, or is it okay even if it's a person's email ID?
No, it is okay. Why? Because even in the lab, that will do what we'll be doing is we'll be sending email to a person in his personal account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is not an issue. See, you decide on what process needs to happen. Okay,
Yeah.
whether I want email, so how I want to retrieve that email, whether I want to take complete information from the email or just take the body of the email, or and keep the sender anonymous. That is something that you can decide.
Okay, got it.
All right. So the process, that's why I'm saying when I want to automate something, I need to be very clear with the process. What I need to take, what should act as a trigger, what will happen next, actions, everything will be decided first, and then we create the process.
Got
Okay?
it.
This
Sir.
is very similar to designing the schema of database before going into application.
Yeah, because as you said, we decide, we have the control, we can decide.
Yeah, we have the control. Yes, we have the control. So, I mean, when we are actually creating an automated process here, an automated solution, right? So in this lab, we are using template. But is template the only way? No, right? I can, from the scratch bring certain external components and create some process. Template is just there because they are probably frequently and most used.
Correct. Yeah. So, but we can also build a process flow from a blank
From
canvas.
the blank, like just like a canvas, blank canvas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So there are no doubts. Shall we move ahead with the lab?
I'm good, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I'll anyway take the doubts later also. I will just continue with the lab. So what we are doing here, we're trying to build an automated solution. All right. We know the scenario, right? Fellows College Educational Organization wants to analyze some mails, okay, and keep it consistently captured and manage the emails. Now, what we want to do is, in this lab, you will create a Power Automate flow to email a visitor when a visit is scheduled. Right. So there are things like whenever I wanted to create a new visit, what did I add? Right. The visitor name, visitor schedule time, schedule start, schedule end, actual start, actual end, right? And other things. So these were the things that were added. Now, based on this, once the visit is created, the person who created the visit needs to get an email as an acknowledgement that a visit is scheduled. Now, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to create a process. What is the process? Trigger based process. Who is triggering? Addition of a visit into the database. So it is just like addition of record into the database, triggering a mail to send to the visitor. Okay, this is what we are trying to do here. Okay, so let us do that now. What is prerequisite? You should be able to, you should have covered the previous labs, right? Okay. So what is the objective in this exercise? You will create a Power Automate flow that implements the requirement. What is the requirement? The visitor should be sent an email that includes the unique code assigned. It's like a new code to the visit and when the visit is created. Okay, so this information should go to them and in the form of mail. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go into Power Apps. It is already created and we are in our environment that we have created yesterday. Right? In the navigation, we'll select flows. Okay, so yeah, so what it says, if prompted, you can get started. So I click on get started. Yeah, so some of you may have already done this, right? And it is this the steps given here are quite intuitive and they help you in a very clear way. So you don't need to should not have actually doubt here. Yeah, something not loading, virtual machine taking time, that is something which is network oriented. So We need to wait for that. All right. So we'll create a new flow here, new flow, and then we'll select automated cloud flow. This one. Okay. So in the choose your flow triggers, this one we will create or we'll select the dataverse. Data. Why are we using dataverse? Because we have created or stored our data into dataverse. Right? Okay, when a row is added, modified or deleted, and then click create. This one, when a row is added, modified or deleted, create it, click on create. Okay, so the flow is created. I mean, it is getting created. Now what we'll do is we'll give some information here. So here, right? So in the change type, we'll write added. Okay, because the mail needs to be added. Sorry, the visit needs to be added. Okay, table name visit, because that is what we are working with. These are all pre-created tables. Visits and scope to organization. Okay, and then on the trigger step, click on ellipses and click rename. So probably this one. Create rename and write when visit is added. So renaming every action is very intuitive for understanding the process, right? What is happening? Okay, then we will once this is done, we'll create a new step. Okay, so this when visit is added, done. Okay, so if you see here, if I click here, you see that in the change type. Okay, so whenever I add a record in the visits table, this thing will get triggered, or this will actually trigger the operations or the actions that is happening ahead, right? This is how we create flow. All right, let us go to the next flow. I can probably click on this and minimize it. Okay, now we'll create a step to get the visitor row, right? So in the new step, we'll again search for dataverse. This is dataverse. Okay, and then what we want, get a row by id, get the row by id. Okay, and then we will take the contacts, because we want to retrieve the visitor information, and visitor information is actually added in contacts. So if you remember yesterday in the contacts table we added John Doe, right? So that is the one. All right, so in the contacts table we will or in the table name we'll take contacts. Contacts. Okay, and in the row id field, select the row id field, and it is saying that notice that a window pops up to select dynamic content or expressions, right? So all these things, right? So this is like dynamic content of expressions, everything. What we need to do here is in the row id, select visitor value. Okay, I don't see, let us see. Visitor value, right? From the dynamic content list. In this step, you're looking for the contact for the visit row that was created to trigger this flow, right? Since email address is part of contact table, you will need this information to send the email to the visitor. Okay, so I'll take visitor value, row ID, done. That's all that I want. Okay, and then in get row by ID, I can just click on these three dots and rename it to get the visitor. Okay, get the visitor. Now the next step would be to send the email, right? This is all right. Let me just read it once again. In the row ID, select field visitor value from the dynamic list. In this step, you're looking for the contact for the visit row that was created to trigger this flow. Since email address is a part of contact table, you will need this information to send the email to the visitor. All right. And we then renamed it. Okay. So now the third step is to now create a next new step. All right. Here we'll look for mail. Okay, select Office 365 Outlook connector and send an email V2. Okay, let's see. Search from here. Okay, not able to find. Okay, let's see. So what we are trying to do here in the new step, this is actually used for sending the mail. Search for mail, select Office 365 Outlook connector and send an email V2 action. Okay. Yeah. So this is send an email V3. Right. Now triggers action. It's V3. It's not V2, right? Is it Office 365 by the way? It's from the beginning. Okay. So here Office 365 Outlook. This one, Office 365 Outlook. So I was doing only mail, right? But what we need to do action is send an email V2. Send an email V2. This is the one that we need to select. Okay, so then it will create object. Yeah, done. So now in the two, add dynamic content under the to field. How do we add dynamic content? Let's see that. This one, right? Add dynamic content. So here what we want to put, select email from the dynamic content list. So we will select email. Email, right? So dynamic content came here. That's all. Okay, what is the next thing? Subject. Okay, select email. That is done. What does it say? Notice that it is beneath the, okay. This means you are selecting the email that is related to visitor that you looked upon in the previous step. All right, we can go back to your scheduled visit to Bellows College in the subject, right? So in the subject, when I click, I can just click on this text and it will be typed, right? Now I will go into email body. This is email body. Select, and then again we'll go to dynamic content, right? So in the dynamic content, we can just write the content from here. Okay, enter the following in the email body. So we'll just have to type in this. Okay, so the complete thing gets typed in. Now we need to change the dynamic content, right? So we need to highlight the first name. Okay, and then replace it with first name in the get the visitor step, right? First name, right? Okay, now we'll go to schedule start. So select schedule start and we'll click on schedule start. So we need to find out schedule start from here it is. Okay, schedule start. Select this schedule end, click on schedule end. I guess that's it, right? Then once this is done, we can save it. So that's all we need to do here. And it also gives you the complete flow, right? How it looks. Okay, that's all. So we need to just save it. So we can just save it. This process is getting saved. Or did I need to rename it also? Let me see. Because I was looking at this some untitled thing here. Anyway, we just created step here, added the email, created step here. Okay, This is what. So this is how our first tab should look like. Like added visits organization. The second tab should look like this, visitor value, and the third tab should look like this. That's all, right? So we can just save it. So this is how we created the process. So what is happening first? When the visit is added, this is acting as a trigger. Okay. Then with the same data verse, we are taking the visitor, right? And then with the help of visitor, we know once the visitor is taken, as in whatever record it is, visitor is taken. So we know what is the first name is of the visitor, when was the schedule start, and when was the schedule end. That is again taken from the data, right? And then this we have created a mail body, and we will be sending, right? That's all. Now we will test it. So we'll keep this open. Okay, we'll go back to our navigate to Power Apps. This. Okay, click Apps and select the Bellows College. Okay, let me open this app once again. I don't want to pack it. Okay, we are at home, and I just need to make sure that we are yeah, right. Now what I want to go, I need to go to apps. Okay, this is our app. Visit Bellows College Management. This is our app. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll try to create that trigger. What is the trigger? Adding a new visit. Okay, so we'll go to visits table. Okay, and here we'll create a new visit. Okay, so this name can be anything. Test trigger. Okay, by the way, the information is given here, but I'm just writing test trigger because we are actually testing the trigger. Okay, visitor John Doe, right? Schedule start, it is saying 8 a.m. It doesn't matter because this is not, the trigger is not scheduled. It is not time based. It is just based on something happening on the directory, on the database, right? So we can put in any name. Okay, so we can keep the date name same and time as 8 a.m. Here also we can keep the date name same, time as not 8 a.m. Just change it to 9 a.m. or 8:30 also will do. But okay, actual start and actual save, they are optional, so we don't need to do, right? So I save and close. Okay, so when I save and close, when one entry is added to the database, so the trigger may have initiated, right? We will go to this one. Navigate to the browser tab. You will, with your flow test running, after a short delay, you will see the flow running. This is where you can catch any issues in the flow. Okay. All right. Now, after a short delay, you'll see an email in your inbox. Since you populated John Doe's email in your personal email, note that it may go through your junk email folder. Okay, let's see. Looking for this email on Microsoft 365. Okay, just sign in with see the process is active. email in our inbox, right? So we need to create, open our account on email with the same credentials, the credentials that we have from here, right? So we can try to do that. So it was, what was the email actually? Where was it getting sent? It was, yeah, so it was Outlook, right? Let's go back to this instruction and see where did we add the email. Yeah, Office 365 Outlook. You can see the email, right? So this is, yeah, to mod administrator, that was a name, that was the email. Dear John, your current schedule to visit Bellows campus from this to this, right? Best regards, campus. So you can see that the email has been received, all right? So the first thing is done, okay? Right, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, quite interesting, right? So we created a process and we got the email outside of the process. So you can see that something that has happened with the Power Platform app has automated a process. Every time creating a visit is actually sending a mail to whoever created the visit, right? So this is how we create an automated solution, okay, which is being done by this app, Visits app, Bellows College Management app. Okay, any issues in this module? We're done with this part of lab. Now we'll go to the next module if there are no issues. Looks fine, right? Okay. Now we will go to, yeah, okay, some raise hands. Yes, Shahid.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Shahid here.
Yeah.
Sir, here we created a email reminder or a
Hmm.
email notification. But if we want to, if someone is requesting for some data like some files or something, can also be triggered?
Yeah, definitely. It can also be triggered, but then the trigger will not be something that is happening on database. The trigger will be, so let's say someone is requesting, we need to first find out what is the mode in which he is requesting, right? So it can be a mail. So if I receive a mail, so what we can do is receive a mail, but then we'll have to also define the email ID of visitor, this Bellows College Management app, right? So what we can do is we can define a business email for Bellows College application. Okay. Now, if somebody sends an email to that Bellows College, what we call administration or management application, that can be taken as a trigger. Okay. Now then you can decide what needs to be done later. You want to send information, you can send or whatever it is.
Sir, for example, in Gmail, when we receive an email which is some appointment or something, sometimes it automatically added to the calendar. It is a subset of this application, something like that.
No, it is similar to this because that is happening on Gmail.
Yeah.
So yeah, so see, there are other things also. For example, when I want to do something with code-based application, something similar can be done. There are something called as webhooks. Okay, So webhooks are something which trigger with the URL. Okay, so let's say when I go to a particular URL and visit, a webhook will be triggered, and everything that is defined for a webhook will happen. Okay, so the probably Gmail is doing with that code base, but in Microsoft Power Platform, this can happen without code base, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so same thing is happening. What you are saying is an event getting added into calendar. Can it be done with Power Apps? Definitely yes. So we can connect with Google Calendar and add. Right, so that will be doing with the help of third-party APIs. Right, because we'll need Google API, Calendar API.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that can be done. Yes.
Third-party API available here in Microsoft Azure Power Apps.
Third-party API will be available by the third party, right?
I mean, Google Calendar APIs are available.
Yes, I can link.
Power Apps.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I can link with that. I mean, yes, I can incorporate. I mean, make use of Google API in my Power Apps. I can make use of that. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Did I answer your question? I mean, did I get your question, by the way?
Yeah.
So what you're trying to say is, can you do add an event on Google Calendar with the help of Power Apps, right?
I was basically asking it is something similar. The both thing, the automatically scheduling an event in calendar from email, and what we are doing here.
Yeah, the process is similar. The process is similar, but we are not. We cannot say that whether how is it Google doing it internally. Right, so if it is a code base, then it must be connecting with all the APIs, because again Google universe is different, so it has good connectivity with apps within, right? So Google Mail will connect very easily with Google Calendar. Okay, so that functionality can happen internally, but if I want to do something with Power Apps and connect to Google Calendar, I should need some communication, and that will be done by API.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, both are process. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, in approval case, we are seeing one example of some company where if there is some bill, if the bill is amount is less than 10,000, it gets automatically approved. So it automatically gets approved, or the manager has to approve it?
No. It's like two stages of approval. If manager approves it, see, first, if the manager rejects it, there is no point of discussing it further. It is rejected. Only the acknowledgement should go to the one who made the request that your request has been rejected. Okay. Now, if the manager approves it, then we'll go to the next step. That is, check whether what is the value of that request. What is the amount that is being dealt with in that request, right? If the amount is greater than 10,000, then it will go for further approval of vice president. If it is less than 10,000, then whatever, it will be taken. I mean, the acknowledgement for the approver will go to the whoever made the request. Why? Because if the amount was less than 10,000, only manager's approval was required. Okay. That was just the process.
So in case of if the approval is less than 10,000 and the manager has to manually approve it, and it can also be automated. I mean,
so this is what we are doing, right? So if so that approval, manager approval, is a process that is actually triggering next action. Okay. You're getting, see, when I create a process, I create different checkpoints, right? Different trigger that cause subsequent actions. Right. So some of the components of process might not require any trigger. Some of them require trigger. Right. Now, once the request is received, the next trigger would be approval of manager. Once the manager approves it, then it will go to next step. So taking it to next step is actually automated. right? It being going to vice president based on the amount there. All this is automated. Okay, but every time the functionality or the compiler, as we call it, let's say or we can call it a stack pointer, where this which part of process is going on. Every time it will wait for either manager's input or VP's input, right?
Yeah, right.
That will act as trigger to process. What are we removing from this process? The process of taking the request from manager to VP, the process of getting it approved and sending back the acknowledgement, the process of taking the request to the manager at the first place. These are the process that is happening on triggers. What are the triggers? Manager approving it, VP approving it, manager rejecting it, VP rejecting it. These are the triggers. Okay, if this process was not made, somebody had to manually take that request or send that mail to first manager. See, this is the request, you need to approve it, right? So that sending of request to the manager is automated. Okay, the acknowledgement mail that your approval is rejected or accepted needs to be done manually, so that is being automated.
Okay, sir.
Now you got
Thank
the
you.
process.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so with that done, we are done with creating a model-based application and model-driven app, as we call it, and then add an automation process. Okay, now we will try to take take it further and see how insights can be taken from this particular application. Because anyway, this application is also dealing with some data, right? So we'll go back to our slides and open this, right? Getting started with Power BI. Okay, so Power BI is a visualization tools that not only processes data, it processes data, visualizes it into something that is very meaningful, brings out insights, or helps data analysts to make, take some insights of that visualization made and take powerful decisions. Okay, business decisions. This is what Power BI is doing. Okay, so I'll just go ahead quickly because this is just what we know about Power BI. Okay, I'll stop wherever it is required. So in this slide, in this set of slides, what are we going to study? We're going to study what Power BI is, what it is used for, and then we'll create a simple dashboard with the help of Power BI. All right. Okay. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to describe the business value and features of Power BI as we did for every other component, and then we will see how Power BI works. All right. So basically, what is Power BI? What is BI, by the way? BI stands for business intelligence. Okay, so here we are trying to add business intelligence based on data to any business so that insights can be taken out and decisions can be made. Okay, business intelligence. So it is a self-service platform that helps you to discover, analyze, and visualize data in order to share the share and collaborate insights with your colleagues. Right. So there can be a single person working on it. There can be multiple people working on it. Okay, visualizations are interactive and scalable reports based on collection of different data sources. So as you can see, there is Power BI standing at the right at the center, but how is data getting retrieved from multiple sources? Okay, so it is cloud, it can be web, it can be database, it can be data lake, it can be Excel sheets, it can be a structured database, or it can be any other database. I don't know what this is. Okay. So it can be the data can be taken from multiple sources. Okay, and then that data can be cleaned up. Cleaning can be done. Okay, visualized, and dashboards are created. Now this data is real time. Okay, any change in the data would be reflected on the dashboard. Okay, so this real time changes over a period can help us bring about good insights. Okay. Let us see what next. So what are the concepts that we see? We see capacities, right? So it is the sources used to host and deliver content, right? So we want this data to be stored somewhere so that we can make use of it and visualize, right? Workspace is just like any other workspace. We have Power Apps workspace, we have automate workspace, we will have Power BI workspace. This is where I use the data, load it, and make visualizations. Okay. Data sets are small sets in which the data are saved into various databases. Okay. Types of data, doesn't matter what type of data it is, it can analyze all types of data, whether it is structured, whether it is NoSQL type, whether it is document database, whether it is JSON type, doesn't matter what data it is. Okay, it can be image data, anything. Okay, the data sets can be shared, right? I can make single insights from multiple data sources, so shared databases. Okay, reports can be made in two ways: one for creating the visualization, so that visualization can act as a report, and second, I can share this report so that somebody else can read it, or somebody else can also edit it. Okay, and then based on these reports we create dashboards which are like this. So this is a dashboard. Okay, and every information here is dynamic. Okay, so this information will change as the data from wherever it is being retrieved is changed. Okay, template apps. So I hope you are now familiar with this term template and why do we need it, right? So there is a blank screen, a blank canvas where I can bring about visualization, as we will see in the lab, but there are also templates. Okay, so I can completely call a dashboard as a template so that others can use it. So if I create, let's say, this dashboard, so this is giving a very good idea of probably whatever it is it may be sales or may be future trends or whatever it is. Okay, some monetary value is involved, so I'm getting a lot of data, and if I like this dashboard, I can use it as a template and manipulate this data based on what I want to show. Okay, I can change the type of this data. So rather going from the canvas, from the very blank screen, I don't know how to start with, we can start with a template, right? So the templates are actually allowing us to, it is giving us a default way of showing some data. Now we can modify that data specific to what I want to see. Okay, so that is what templates is. Getting data, as we said, there is no limit on from where the data can be retrieved, right? It can be Excel files, database, cloud, app source, and every other possible way of data, right? So this, we will just specify what will be the source of my data, and it will try to retrieve data. It will configure the way the data is retrieved, right? Tools of Power BI. This is very important. So there are three tools of Power BI. One is service. What is service actually? Let's go to service later. One is desktop application, the application that we will use on desktop. Okay, so it is an embedded application .exe file that gets installed into computers and provides you a lot of comprehensive tools, right? So there are comprehensive tools, visualizations, and everything. Okay, so that is desktop. Mobile is a simpler version, as we call it, a beta version of desktop Power BI. Okay, so it has, I mean, it will be good to see every dashboard that I create on mobile, but I may not be able to edit it to that extent as I could do it in desktop, right? And service is basically when you publish a dashboard, okay, you make it available to the user or viewers, right? So the published dashboard actually goes as a service. Okay, so I can just create a dashboard. I can create a link. You go to the link and you should be able to see that dashboard with some functionalities. Okay, not much of an edit is required here. Not much of edit is allowed here. Similarly with mobile, it is just for viewing purpose. Okay, but desktop, Power BI desktop is something that is very comprehensive. It gives you, you can see here, if I zoom in, yeah, you can see here the way I want to visualize it. What are the filters? What are the fields that are being taken from the database? You can see the schema here, modeling how are two tables or two graphs connected. Everything can be done with Power BI desktop. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. All right, so that is about Power BI tools. Now, this is the way that we generally been discussing about Power BI, right? You get your data, analyze, visualize, publish, and collaborate. So when we talk about this publish, this is where the data will be available in the Power BI service. Okay, visualize is something that you see anywhere. I mean, in the desktop, whether it is a desktop app, whether it is mobile app, or whether it is a service. Visualize is anywhere. Analyze is done by data analyst who actually looks at the the visualizations and create insights for you. Okay, now if I want to create a dashboard like this, I need to go through these processes, right? The first one is to get the data, right? Second one is the natural language query, meaning we use language to get insights, right? Natural language query. I'm not very sure of this term, but here what we're trying to do, we are using data in terms of language and then trying to get insights from it. Okay. Quick insights. I look at the table and I try to get the insights of what can happen or whether a certain decision needs to be taken or not, right? So quick insights can be taken out from these visualizations. Next is custom visualization, something that we would not require much, but custom visualization you can look at to be able to change a visualization according to your need. Okay, so I mean, if I create a pie chart, let's say a pie chart can be a simple 2D pie chart, but what if I want to do it in 3D? So that customization is there, right? So I can decide on how I want certain data to be visible. Customization of visualizations. Third is publish, right? So this is nothing but the service. So once you publish your dashboard to the web, it should be available as a service. This is how you publish, right? Mobile application. So mobile application again, not very interactive, but quite extensive, right? Extensive in the sense it gives you good information, same form of information, but you won't be able to interact much. Right? Desktop application. Yeah. So this is the main essence of Power BI. To be able to have and work with desktop application, desktop Power BI, because you can see there are a lot of tools provided. So it is very similar to just as we see this PowerPoint, right? So you can see there are n number of tools and things that I can do with this particular presentation, right? So similarly, I can do a number of things when I have a dashboard or reports being created on Power BI desktop, right? So you can see here discovery and exploration, easy reports authoring, custom visualization, R integration. Yeah, I guess R integration has something to do with R language. Next is collect the data all around you. So as I said, there is no limit or there is no constraint on what type of data can be imported and visualized. Okay, we can use data from every other source, right? So you can say connect to, you can read here, connect to the data in the cloud and on premise. There can be data which is local to the machine or there on the cloud, right? We can shape, transform and clean the data. So as I said, we can also clean the data to be able to show which rows I want, which rows I don't want in the data, which columns I want to keep, which columns I don't want to keep. Okay, we can join and model, right? So the one which I said, this third column, right? If you see the third option here, it is modeling. So basically we are trying to relate multiple tables and connect them. Okay, and then extend and advanced analytical technologies like R. Yeah, so it has something to do with R language. Okay, then there is publication, one-click publications. How we publicize our reports so that it is available as a service. And yeah, same thing. So once the report is published, it can be available as a service. So if you see, there is a difference between Power BI desktop visualization and Excel visualization. Okay, this is not actually any comparison being done. It is just showing you that the sales here, which is again very explanatory, extensive. But if you go into Power BI desktop, there are things like visual, drag and drop things, just like no code Power Apps. So we can drag and drop things. I can just drag pie chart and through here. It will retrieve the data and plot it for you. Okay. Then there is something called as customer case study for Miami Heat. Okay, so Miami Heat is not the Heat in Miami, but it is a basketball team. Okay, so the basketball team actually wants to. It is a quite popular team, so they wanted to analyze the data of their customers, right? Who of their customers meaning their fans, right? So whenever there was a match in some of Miami Heat as a team, they wanted to analyze who are these customers and what numbers they come in and what part of match or what part of the tournaments that happen they like, and what part they are interested in. All right, so all this data they wanted to plot so that they can create ticket sales, or they can have insights on ticket sales, right? So they use Power BI, and then they could actually boost their ticket sales by 30%, because then they knew when particular customers come, what is the type of customer and what type of game they want to see, right? And based on the number of customers that is coming, let's say on one fine day, I assume that there will be the stadium will be housefull, so I can provide appropriate services, right? I mean the management and thing. Okay, but on one fine day, if I see that okay, the forecast doesn't say that there will be not many customers or fans today, what I can do, I can drop or I can reduce the management effort, right, by personnel or in terms of money also. So that is therefore helping them to save approximately $1 million on operations, right? So this is how Power BI's insights are helping them to take further decisions on their team. Okay, somebody is laughing, why? All right, so this is how we I mean this is how we understand what Power BI is, and now we'll be able to or we'll try to create a simple dashboard with the help of Power BI. Okay, before going into the lab, I'll also go through these couple of slides. 3-4 slides are there, which will help you in understanding what are the steps to be followed for creating a visualization. All right. So first, we need to know how to connect the data to the Power BI desktop. That is importing the data, right? And then transforming and modeling the data from your import. So, I mean, when we import some data, it is in the raw format. It is in the rawest format. What we want to do is we want to create certain tables from the data and then bring about relationship and connectivity between these tables. All right. When this modeling is done, the visualization or creating visualization becomes very easy. Okay, because the tables by themselves have very relevant data, and they know how they are connected with other tables into the model. Okay, this is just like creating ER diagrams. Okay, but physical, not the physical ER diagram, intuitive ER diagram, because they actually connect with each other. Okay, once the visualizations are built, I can decide on whether I want to share it, publish it, or collaborate it. Okay, share it with others so that they can have their inputs and create a better dashboard. Okay, so these are the steps. So the first thing that we'll see is connect to database. Same thing is written here. I go next. See, when I connect to database, this is the raw data that I'm seeing. Okay, then from here I'll select what I want, what I do not want. Okay, let us go to transform data. So the raw data being transformed. So what is the meaning of transform? We create some new calculated column. We hide unnecessary column that we don't want, and then we explore edit queries, reports building, and relationship tabs. So that's what, right? So when I'm modeling, I create tables that I want, and I explicitly define the relationships that I want. Okay, so this is visualization. Here I select what I want to and how I want to visualize piece of data, right? This is how dashboards are created. Okay, and this is how we'll be collaborating, right? So if I want to share with some other people into the same team, I can collaborate it, add those people in my workspace and share, right? So it will be available with everybody, and then they can collaborate and give their inputs also, right? So these are the 4 to 5 steps that we'll be following. Okay, now with that, let us move to the lab. Right. So the next lab that we see here is how to build a simple dashboard. So again, we'll be using the same scenario because we have the data here, and we are dealing with data. We created model-driven app. Why not use that data to visualize something and make insights? All right. So the first 2 paragraphs remain same. Throughout this course, you will build applications and perform automation to enable the Bellows College management, administration, and security personnel to manage the control access to the buildings on campus. Okay, but what we are trying to do here in this lab, we will build a Power BI report and dashboard that visualizes data about campus visits, right? So you want to visualize how many campus visits are we generally getting and a trend of that. Okay, so what are the high level steps? Create a report with various visualization of campus visits and utilize a user natural language query to build additional visualization. Okay, let's see. So what are the prerequisites? Validate lab environment and data modeling. Why? Because we want that data to be with us. Okay. Now this has nothing to do with the application, right? The application is also using the same data, but now that I have data in the most appropriate format, that is the visits table, contact table, and the other table was order, I guess. I'm not sure. So there were 3 tables that we created. So the major table that we wanted to take into consideration is visits table and contact. Okay, that because that has the information of who is visiting, and the visits table has information of uh, everything, right? When was the visit made, scheduled time, did the visitor actually visit, right? So all those things. All right. So what we'll do now, we will go to, we'll read the steps. Okay. So in this exercise, we'll create, okay, how many times to read this? You should have a visits.pbix file stored. So every Power BI file, just as any Excel file is stored as SX, right? XLSX. A Power BI file is stored like this, PBIX. Okay. So we have that file here. So if you go here, you see this is visits.pbix. So this is the file that we have downloaded, the raw material that we required for this complete lab. So we had this PBIX in that folder. Okay, so I'll just minimize it back. All right. Now what we need to do is open to a new tab and click on powerbi.com. Okay, let me see if I go to desktop. Yeah, so there is no Power BI desktop here, but we are using Power BI web app. Okay, so it is again very interactive, but we don't. Yeah. Okay. So we have opened powerbi.com, and we will, some sign in is required, but not required because we are already signed in, I guess. Okay. Yeah. So we are signed in as one. All right. Now we will select my workspace and upload and then browse. So what are we uploading? Visits.pbix. Okay. This one. It will take some time. All right. We got it. Once the data is load is complete, select visits report. This one. Okay. Now we'll go to edit. Okay, so when I click on edit, this is the interface which is very similar to Power BI desktop. Okay, so if you see here BC underscore building, BC underscore visit. So these are the columns that we are taking care of. Okay, now if the edit menu, if the item is not visible, select the ellipsis and then select edit. Okay, if the edit menu is not there, but we had that edit menu, right? So we have set up. Now we'll create charts. So press pie chart. This is the pie chart. Okay, on pie chart. Okay, so pie chart is here. Now we will try to see how to add values to this, right? So press on pie chart icon in the visualizations panel to insert a chart. Okay, press the drop down arrow beside BC underscore visit, right? This one. In the field span, drag the building field and drop it into the legend box. Where is the building field? This one, I guess. No, this one. The legend box. Here. Okay, so I drag. So these are the columns that I had. I took them and I dragged. Okay, let me just try to increase the screen size. Yeah. So when I dragged and dropped buildings in the legend, it showed me what are the buildings that I have. Okay, this is the maximum it gets. Just let me know if this is not visible. We'll zoom in on it later. Okay, so this is giving you the list of all the buildings that are there. Okay, Alpine Sky House, Contours Suits, everything. Okay, let's move ahead. drag the visit field and drop it into values box. So in the values, we want visits. Okay, visit. Let us search for visit. Here it is. Okay. Right. So we got now these 5 represent each building, and the visits, the number of visits represent how many visits were there in each building. Okay. And where is this data coming from? From visits dot PBIX. Okay, no, not from there, from the visits.xlxs. Why? Because we are connecting to the same dataverse. Okay, in Power BI also we're connecting to the same dataverse. This PBIX, every file that you create in Power BI workspace will be saved as PBIX file. Okay, all right, let's move ahead. Yeah, for resizing and all we did. Click on the report outside of the pie chart to deselect it and select stacked column chart in visualization pane. So reports, and find report. What does it say? Click on the report outside of the pie chart to deselect it. Okay. So we deselected it and select stack column chart in visualizations pane. Stack column chart. Stack column chart. Okay. So here you go. I need to close this then. Okay. So we have this stack column chart. Now, how do we fill the data? Same thing, right? X-axis, Y-axis. All right. So press the drop down arrow beside BC underscore visit. Yeah. And in the fields pane, drag the visit and drop it in the Y-axis. So again, we have that visit column and we will drop it in Y-axis. Okay. Now let us define what X-axis is, right? And drag start field and drop it into the X-axis. This I'm finding start, but is it a field? Let us make sure there's no other start. Yeah. So we'll start here and drop it in the X-axis. Right. So cool. So I can see that every visit and when is it starting. Okay. Okay, you can see this, right? So it is starting at 3rd August, 3rd September, everything. Okay, so this visualization is here. Can I move it? Okay, anyway. Okay. All right, in the visualization pane, click X next to year and quarter to leave only month and day totals of the for the axis. Okay, so in the visualization pane, we will create X. So basically it is asking us to close. So what we do, we want X for year. We don't want year and we don't want quarter also. So you can see that the things that we don't want are going. Okay, and then resize the chart as desired. I want to resize, but it's not actually getting resized, but I want this pie chart also, right? Let us see if we can move it. Yeah. Let me also resize some pie chart and get here. Okay. So now we can see both. I understand that this won't be directly visible to you all. I'll zoom in it. Right. So now you can see the complete visualization. Okay. Let us go down. Okay. Now we'll test the interactivity, how we can interact with this. Okay. So click on various building slices. If I click on this slice, yeah, so I can see that it is showing 4th coffee house and the data only relevant to that one. Okay. This, then only Quantoso suits. This, then Norwin traders, something like that, right? And yeah, I can also see the tab. If I keep waiting on that, it will show me, yeah, Norwin trader towers, count of visit 39, which is 18.14% of the total visits being made. All right. Then next we'll go to the thing, click on column chart, press the down arrow to turn on the drill down. Yeah, so there is something called as drill down. Let me tell you what that is. Okay, so if I click on column chart, okay, so when I click on column of a chart, it will first give me the data if nothing is there. But this down arrow, right? this is drill down. So if I click on this and click on a point, wait, drill down on the or right click and click on the column next to drill down to the next table. Okay. Okay, I want to drill down. Okay, so click on the column set, press the down arrow to turn on the drill down. Okay, to the next level days. So here what is happening? We are seeing the start day and count by month, visits by month a day, month and day, okay, visits by month and day. So we are looking at visits by month and visits by day. Okay, so if I do this drill down, it will get into more details of data and give me the visits of month day wise, I guess. Okay, but I'm actually, this happens when you click on the data. Let's see. Okay, so the day wise it was already done, right? So in August there were these many, in September these were these many, in October there were these many. So this is count of visit by month. Okay, now if I want to go into more details like by day, then what I'll do, I'll just click on this bottom arrow and click on any point and I'll see the day of August. Okay, if I go back and then click on September, then I'll see for September, like that. So this is what drill down means. So so if you click on that column, it will keep on, getting into details. Okay, now I'm getting with the day, right? So it was month and day, and now I'm just getting column with the day. So it is like drilling down. So you're going into one step into details of the data. So the very first, the month was superficial. You didn't know how many were individual visits. Now if I click on this, drill down and click on this, I should be able to see on each day in the month of September what happened. Okay, so this is what drilling down means. Once this is done, we will save it. Right. So how do we save it? Okay, this is just to yeah, save. So this is our visualization and we are saving it. Okay, so report is being saved. Now we'll try to create dashboard. So creating dashboard meaning you will have to, yeah, creating dashboard meaning you will have to what we call, you will have to pin certain points or pin these visualization at a specific part of the page. Okay, so I've just maximized it a lot, but what I want to do is I want to pin it. I want this pie chart to appear here and stay here, right? And I want to bring this column chart here and stay here. Okay, so let's try to do that. Select pin to a dashboard. So if I click on this and this pin, right, it will stay here. Okay, and depending on the layout, you may need to press everything. Select new dashboard and on pin to dashboard, this one, and then we'll write campus management. Where will this come? Here, it should come here. Campus management, and we'll write pin. Okay. Okay, once this is pinned, let me see if I've done that correctly. So we're going to new dashboard here, campus management, and we'll pin it. Okay, that's done. Okay, so then it will ask you to go to dashboard prompt, see, and then let's save it. Right, so now this is a dashboard and it is pinned to dashboard. It will remain here, right? And I can see the interactivity. This is my dashboard. I can see the interactivity, right? Okay, so here I have other options like exporting. So it will be exported as PBIX file. Share. So share will be done with workspaces. Okay, it will be shared among the workspaces. Right. So here also I can see the interactivity. Okay, so a lot of animations and stuff are happening. Okay. All right. So now we'll add visualization using natural language. Okay, so let's see what that is. So within the campus management dashboard, select ask a question about your data. Campus management dashboard. Where can we go ask a question? Edit chat with teams, subscribe, edit. Let us go to edit again. Yeah, so this is ask a question. Okay, so it has prepared. Then select existing dashboard. So we have selected this dashboard and select your campus management. Where is this campus management? Let us see. Okay. Yeah, so here ask a question about your data, right? So in here we will write buildings by number of visits. Okay, so what is happening here? We are trying to write something as a query, as a search bar, and then it is trying to plot data, right? So you can see that it is trying to plot that data. So it is buildings by number of visits, same thing. The data that was here will be shown here now in the row chart, right? So building fourth coffee house, 26 visits. So this is quite intuitive, right? So it is just taking the language, it is processing the language and then giving you the visualization. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so if I, so this is how my dashboard will see, right? So if I save it, okay, I save it and go to dashboard and see the workspace, I should be able to see all this, right? I should be able to see all this in my dashboard. Okay, yeah, something like this. This is what we are printing, right? So if I, yeah, right. So this is what my dashboard will look like, right? Let us see how we'll be going to the dashboard. We'll save it. What is saved? Sorry. Yeah, so this is the dashboard. Okay, so this is what we are seeing on the dashboard, complete visualization. And these things will remain as they are. Okay, because we are not actually moving. So this is how we create dashboard. Just place them where they want and then pin them. So pinning them will keep them there itself and this data will change, right? So if I keep on adding more values here, this data will keep on changing. So I can see that, okay, in particular day, ninth day, there was only one visit. So I need to focus what day can it be, whether it is Sunday or whether it was a busiest weekday. So those things can be, insights can be taken off. Or this one, right? On the 18th day, there was large number of visits. So whether it is some public holiday where so many were free and could come to visit, right? So those things. So what I can do here, what can be the business insight I can make? I can make more personnel available to take care of visits on these particular days. Okay. If this is happening regularly on public holidays, if you see this one, this one, this one, if this is happening regularly on public holidays or weekends, then I will increase the number of staff on weekend and thereby decrease their number on weekdays so that I don't need to spend much resources on management. Okay. So these are the insights that we try to get from the uh, from the visualizations. And this is how, and this is just simple charts, right? We can make them quite intuitive, just as we seen in the example. like this. So this is also a dashboard. You can see that a lot of information is getting displayed, and all these parameters will then act to collectively take a business decision, right? This is how we visualize with Power BI. Any issues here? Wait, let me check. Yes, Sharath.
Oh, hello, sir. I raised my hand. Are you ready to take questions?
Yeah. I'm done. So I'm done with Power BI, and we have created dashboard. So I'm ready for questions regarding up till now.
Okay. All right. So, sir, first question is regarding you mentioned we can connect in n number of data sources, whatever it may be, what type of database, and we can get data real time, right?
Right.
Wouldn't that take a toll on the performance? I mean, what if these external data sources are not, done well? So
No, so see, before I could visualize anything, I will do modeling. Okay. So that modeling will only, before any visualization is done, I will take care of what data I want to visualize first. Okay.
Yeah.
So initially that we have this column, right? Let me see if this is available there on the dashboard. Okay. Open my workspace and save visit. Okay, this is just showing dashboard. Let me go back to. Okay, let's say I'll do the create thing from the beginning.
Are you trying to add a new entry and see the data coming in real time?
No. What I'm trying to show you is the front page of the dashboard. Okay, it is available on the slides. Let me show you that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are actually talking about desktop application.
Right.
Okay, it is blur, but I just wanted to show you this small icon here.
Connect.
Okay, so what is this icon? This, you can see that there are 3 blocks added with some connectors. So what is this actually? This is modeling of your database.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll retrieve data. So first the data will be raw. Okay, then you define tables. The way we define tables for setting up database in Power Apps, here we can do it explicitly, very specific to this particular dashboard or visualization. Okay, I can select what rows I want, and I can also model them the way they are connected. So I can also establish relationship between them. Okay, so once this modeling is done, the data, everything in the in the raw data will be retrieved that I wanted to show, and visualizations can be done. Okay, now now about latency of this visualizations coming up, and the frequency with which they are changing is quite easily taken care of by desktop application. Okay, that is the reason we say desktop application is quite comprehensive than the mobile and the service one.
Got it, sir. So let's say there is an external database, let's say Teradata, which is sitting in some remote server, and somehow we recreated the model, whatever the model that Teradata database had within our Dataverse or within Power BI. Power BI also, I think it should be Dataverse, right? The underlying database. Correct. And let's say initially we took a bulk of data and everything is sitting in Dataverse and everything is working fine. Now, in the outside Teradata database, something changed. So will that be real time? I don't think so, right? That data again needs to be imported into Dataverse, right? Then only you will get that reflected in your Power BI report. Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, see, some latency will definitely be there. It's like we are not dealing with, if we are talking about Teradata, the data is quite huge. So we are not dealing with data that is very small and can be handled by machine. It also depends on the capability of machine. So if I'm talking about Power BI desktop, the capability, the processing power of desktop also comes into picture there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yeah. So while creating this dashboard, it might not reflect that frequently or that instantly as the data changes. But yeah, some performance will be improved when I publish it to a service.
Okay.
Okay, because there my service as a my dashboard is available on the web page as a service. Okay, so interaction between web and the data is better than that in the system.
Got it, sir. Yeah, understood.
Okay, so yeah, at some point there will be some latency. There, everything will not happen almost instantly.
Yeah.
Some latency will be there. The only question here is how well you can optimize that, where to use it so that it gives you best or quick results.
Got
Okay,
it.
that's why we have things like this.
Yeah. I think once you have your data within the Dataverse, then performance wouldn't be an issue. Then you are within your ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we can
Yeah.
batch that process and all that. So, okay,
Yeah.
sir, I understood. Okay. And now we talked about Power Apps, we talked about Power Automate, we talked about Power BI. Is it possible that all this can be integrated into one Power App so that
Yeah,
it acts as?
definitely.
Oh, okay, so then you have an entire system like you have for your
Yeah,
backend
completely.
activities.
Right. So just give me a minute. What we are doing here in the Power Apps, we just created the data. There was no component of visualizing it. Right? We can add that
Right.
component.
Okay, and it can act as a screen in Power App.
Definitely.
Okay.
What we need to do, we'll have to create a model-driven app, add a view. View will have this visualization rather than the data that just as we did, right?
Okay, so within the Power App, when we build it in Power App, there is an option instead of taking from a table, we can map a view to a Power BI page.
No. See what happened here. The data that I mapped, right, visits. That was not a result of any change happening in the app. That was directly connected to the database in Dataverse. All right.
Right.
Same thing with the model-driven app. It was connected with the database.
Right.
Okay. So what I can do is I can retrieve the same data into the application, the Power App, and with that data, the way I showed all the entries as in the form of gallery, I can show the data in the form of visualization.
So that would take some additional work, right? So my question is, sir, in the Power App that you already created, there are some screens already there. Today's visit, active visits, and those things. So can the dashboard, the Power BI dashboard that we created right now, can I just simply add it as a dashboard for that Power App?
Some internal integration must be there. I'm not really sure of that, but there is one thing I can think of. What you can do is you publish this dashboard. Okay, so this dashboard will be available as a web page.
Right.
Okay, and in the Power App, you just add a link to this web page.
Oh, that's possible. Okay.
Right. So I mean, you go and you can create a button which will be triggering this web page, right? So you can see the same dashboard through your app.
Got it. So it will exist independently as its own URL. At the same time, you can embed it to your Power App. Okay.
Power App, yes.
All right. Okay, that will take care of it. And I think you started with the PBIX file, right?
Yes.
So was that a blank file, sir? Or if I have to create a Power BI page, I don't have a PBIX file with me, right? So how do I do?
First, what you would do is load your data. Okay. So I mean, see, when we go to dashboard, there is an option where you can load your data. It will ask you from what is the source of your data. Okay, there I will provide the source of that Excel access file visits. Okay, all the data that was there will be imported in that particular workspace as a raw data. I can do some cleanup like removing some rows which I don't want, add some extra rows based on model. Okay, and even without visualizing anything, I can save it as a PBIX file.
Okay.
So that is what we have imported directly.
Oh, okay. So that's what was missing. So I was wondering, where did that came from and how do I create that? Okay. Okay.
right?
Is
So,
the-
I mean, when you open Power BI desktop, what will happen? There is two way to either, continue working on something that you've already created. What we did now.
Mhm.
Okay, so we created that PBIX file that was incorporating the data and everything that was already there. What it did not have was visualization. Okay,
Yeah, got it.
what is the preliminary step? Is to load the data, form the model, and then visualize. So that loading of data and forming of model was anyway done in the PBIX file.
Right. Okay.
Okay, that was already done. If you had probably, I'm not sure if you have the access of previous workshops that you had taken on Power BI. There I loaded data from the scratch.
Oh, really? Okay. Can I find it in YouTube, sir?
Probably I'll ask the team to share.
Okay. Oh, that'll be great. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All
And
right, so that actually loaded data from the Excel file
mhm.
and loaded it as a some data, raw data. We then cleaned it up, removed some rows, created model, and then visualized.
Got it. Instead of an Excel file, let's say I have a Dataverse table. I have a set of tables, and here, and we can use that too.
I'll
right?
show you just one more thing. So this is Power BI desktop. Let's see how much time it takes to load. Might take some time. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Power BI desktop. This is the workspace of desktop.
Okay.
All right. Now, just let me close this. This is where you visualize, and you see the by itself it is showing you some possible sources from where you can import data.
Okay.
Okay. If the suggestion is not what you want to try from, you can go to another source.
That was the initial slide that you displayed. Like you can take data from anywhere and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Even you can go to this. Okay, it is loading. So you see now this is the possible ways you can take data from.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so we'll be connecting to any one of those and then loading the data. You should be able to find Dataverse also.
Got it.
Uh,
Understood, sir. I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Apart from that, there is this. This will actually show you the raw data. Okay, where you
However
can
you
eliminate some rows or columns which you don't want. Okay, this is where you can model. So you see the tables here. So you can create the tables, create the row, set primary key, and models. This is how one field of one table is connected to another field of another table. This will help you to effectively load only relevant data.
Got it.
Okay, you see this Dataverse option. It is explicitly coming here.
Yeah.
Right. So everything is there.
So I think the powerful feature is you just get your normalized data from an Excel spreadsheet, then you can model it accordingly.
Yes.
Then get your slice and dice.
Right. That data cleaning is there. Data wrangling also is there. Once the cleaning is done, then visualizations become easy because then you load it here, right? So I just showed in the lab the workspace visits. This is the dashboard filters. Let's say edit. Okay, so when I edit, see everything, the column that were created, the tables that were created in the model will appear here.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you drop it down, it will show you what are the things that is there in that table.
Yeah, all the columns.
Okay, columns, their type. Okay, we can also define if one column is a function or outcome of other two columns. That also can be defined just as we do in Excel. Or we can define the type of data, whether it is a date time data. Okay, whether it is city data. For example, if I have cities as a column, I can specify it to be a city data. How is that helpful? Because if I try to map those cities on world map, it will actually pinpoint the cities on the map.
Okay.
Right. So there is a number of things, a number of features, even in the types that I can specify to that data. Okay, so if I have a raw data in Excel and there is a city column, that city will be just a piece of string, right?
Yeah.
I want to relate that string to the actual city so that I can locate it with the latitude and longitude and map it on the
You're actually adding the what type of data that is,
data. It is, yeah.
and it can be reused. Okay. Quite
Okay,
interesting.
so quite interesting. Yes, so many things are there. It will take some time to explore everything.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And sir, a couple things related to the lab. I was trying to do the work yesterday after the first session. And one thing that I'm using a small laptop, so a regular size laptop. And once I open the lab, it's very difficult to see everything. Even I am
Right.
not getting the view that you are getting. I think you're using probably a bigger screen.
Right.
Yeah. So there is no way around it, right? I have to just live with that, right? Or
Yeah,
I,
the only help you will get is this. Okay. So probably if you're working with pie chart, what you can do is zoom in and just see the pie chart and do the thing.
yeah, yeah. It's okay. It's just it's difficult to navigate around with.
Yeah, and what you can do is if you're okay with the instructions given here, you can just minimize it, and then the rest of the space will be taken by screen.
Yeah, yeah. I tried it, but
This
it's not
also this will be minimized.
expanding
This also
actually.
can be minimized. This also can be minimized. You see?
Yeah. But when I tried in my laptop, with the lab, even though I dragged the thing to the rightmost, it was not fitting in.
It will happen. I mean, it depends on the how well the virtual machine is connected. Internet connectivity is key here.
Yeah, I think I have more than 100 Mbps connection.
Okay, fine. Not sure what the issue is, but yeah, I mean, see, I'm doing everything on VM and don't know how. I mean, it depends on VM how to operate, right? So
Yeah,
some connection issue. Not sure about that.
that's okay. That's okay, sir. And also on the right, you see there are check boxes, right, against each step. And I think that do we need to do that?
No,
Click
you don't need. See, doing this check boxes will ensure. See, it shows this like 0% task complete.
Correct.
Okay, so when you click on those check boxes, it will keep a track of what is being done, and then once all the check boxes are there, it will add as a percentage of task done.
Correct. That's what I'm worried about. Like if I do not do that, doesn't mean I haven't done the lab.
I think you should do that because see, I have not done that and it shows 0% task complete, but we have gone through 5 labs.
But can you click on that, sir? Some message popped up. So
Done.
okay, that's it. Okay. Okay. All right. When something popped up, I didn't do that. So I thought I'll ask.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
So what you do, you come to the last part, right? The last checkbox. Okay. You click on that and do yes.
Oh, you don't need to click on each and every box. Okay. That's great.
So now it shows 100% task complete.
Okay. Yep. All right. I think that's all. And on a lighter note, sir, with this tool, wouldn't we developers go out of job on a long run?
No, not really. See, what is the one thing that is happening here? Although it provides lot of functionality, the control that I have with code-based application is unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay. What if I want to add a new feature in Power BI? I will go to the basics.
Yeah.
So at some point it will not.
Yeah, no, I was just kidding. It's just probably long run, like not anytime soon.
Right.
But,
And it doesn't, I mean, although we say that it gives a lot of insights, but it does not necessarily give you insights. Okay. Some decisions should be taken from the experience, which any tool will not give.
yeah. There is only so much, not if it gets too complicated, it's difficult right now.
Right. Yeah. So there is some limitations to these tools, but at the end of the day, if I want to, create a new application altogether, which is out of the scope of features that are provided by Power Apps, I'll have to go to the basics.
Got it. And understood, sir. And I heard somebody mentioning a self-paced course also related to this. Is that something that we need to do, or
If you have registered for that, then you have to. So
I only
registration-
registered for this. So is
That's
it
okay. Don't need to do that.
okay? All right. Okay. So overall, thank you so much, sir. The sessions were really wonderful. Appreciate your time and the way that you described it. It's been really helpful. So I just wanted to thank you, and also Nikita ma'am for all the help along the way. So thank you, and also to Nalini ma'am who presented the first session. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, fine. So yeah, we are not yet done with the session.
Oh,
I need 5-10 minutes.
Oh, you're not done? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought you were done.
What about Power Virtual Agents?
Oh, that's also there. Okay. I
Yeah.
should have said it then.
Yeah, so there are okay. There's one question. So this visualization can also be possible using Excel. Then what advantages? A lot of advantages, right? I mean, see, I created pie chart. I clicked on pie chart, added two values, and the pie chart was created.
Yeah, true.
Okay, but Excel, you might have to select the columns, write in the legends, and there is only 5 to 6 functionalities there as compared to Power BI, right? Then
Yeah.
about business insights, right? Scatter plots, things that are there which will give you more insights than what Excel can do. Excel can plot for you, but it will not help you to that extent to give you insights. Second thing, if we talk about world map, right? So I said to plot cities on world map, I have to map those cities with the actual their coordinates. That cannot be done on Excel. That is, these are some basic things that I'm telling, but there are so many other things like publishing, right? Sharing, collaborating, all these things may not be directly done with Excel. If the data is in GBs, Excel will definitely crash.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these things are there. There is one chat. I mean, there was one question on chat, so that I was responding to that. Okay, so there are multiple benefits, but the thing is, as we want more features, you will have to dive into more complexity. So this app is basically a bit complex than what we could do with Excel, but yeah, the insights that we are getting are definitely way better than what we would have got from Excel. All right. Yeah, so is there an options like knowledge graph, entity map, like that? Knowledge graph meaning? There must be. I'm not really. Haven't gone into in the details of this excessively. Are you speaking? Okay, so we need to explore more on Power BI desktop. What can be done? How can better visualizations be created? Okay, somebody raising hand. Yes, Ajit.
Sir, I would like to know that while working in Excel, if there are multiple columns and we want to draw a chart of specific columns, we can select the columns and rows in there. But in this Power BI, how would we select such things?
I did here, right?
Or it is
Values.
automatically drawing charts or everything?
No, it's not automatically drawing. When I clicked on pie chart, it just created a pie chart. There was nothing there. How did I, how did I show this buildings and the visits? Here in values, I dragged and dropped, right?
Okay,
In
so we
values.
can select the columns also.
Right, yeah. So in the data field, there will be everything that is there in the table. You can select the columns, drag and drop it, and then it will be available. Right, so you see this, and once I click on count of visit by building, see in the legend, I wrote building. So it took the building column and figured out what all different buildings are there. So I had dragged this building here and pasted it here, right? In the values, I dragged the number of visits and pasted it here. So that you can decide, right? In the details, there are more things that you can add, right? Details. So I need to, drag some detail column and put it here. So more details will come. It's not that it is plotting by itself.
Okay, sir. So one thing I would also like to know, while practicing in a lab, if we need any help, then where we have to post the questions and help.
At this point, you can post on community.
Community?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have been trying to answer doubts, technical and non-technical, operational. On
Was there any timing?
No. Community is just like discourse.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
What is different between Power BI and Tableau? Power BI is created by Microsoft. Tableau is not created by Microsoft. Both are visualization tools. Okay, Shahid.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, till now we are working on numerical data, and as far as I know, Excel is also for numerical data.
Mhm.
What if we have some non-numerical data, like suppose we have some virtual assistant where users are posting questions and we want to analyze that data for some meaningful insights. Can the Power BI support it, or can we do it using Power BI?
Yeah, you can do that. One way of doing that would be to map every question with a weight. That you have to do something manually, probably with the help of models in Power BI. Okay, so what is it I'm trying to say? Let's say there is a question. You will assign a weight to it, and all the questions with similar weight will come in single category. Okay, and then you can have a customized answer for that.
I mean, based on keywords.
Yeah, based on keywords. Yeah. So we have this, right? Natural language processing. So how is it doing that? With the help of keywords. Keywords posted into some machine learning model where it is taking things from, from the data. It is searching for buildings. It is searching for visits, number. It is trying to understand what language, what we are trying to say.
But here,
Okay.
sir, we have numerical data which is structured.
No. I'm just telling you. I'm just giving you the example of natural language processing. I'm not telling you about the data anything. I'm just saying when you map, you can map the words in the form of question in the form of numbers. You map the words to numbers, and then you should be able to visualize it. Right. So what I'm saying is, if there are questions that you want to, yeah, go ahead.
Totally unstructured, like the chat data or virtual assistant, and we want to analyze the most search keyword or something like that. That can easily be visualized using Power BI.
We'll have to look at that. I'm not really sure.
We are here. There are many options to import the data.
Right.
There are database, and I think some non-structured database also options there are to import data. And I'm just want to know that if data is totally non-structured, then the Power BI
so
can
see, the data is totally non-structured when you import it, but some modeling needs to be done for that. Some modeling requires. Okay, some modeling will, so that it does not just plot anything. Okay, because you want some insight, so you need to give some information about what this data is and what you're trying to plot. Okay, something that you can explore.
In this case, and I'm not able to see how the modeling will be done. We have a simple chat data of users with virtual assistant. Which type of modeling can we perform from this data? I don't see it.
No, so why do you want to see visualizations? Can be done once you have something that is mapped to numbers, right? So when you have chat data, you can use some other way of understanding that data first, and then create visualizations, right? Directly, how will you create visualization on some data that is non-numeric? Right. So, I mean, there has to be, we'll try to have a process, right? So data non-numeric with the help of chatbots, right? So let us incorporate virtual agents first, then come with visualization.
Yeah,
something like that, right? So what I'm saying is modeling. With that, I mean some numeric value needs to be assigned so that you can plot it. Ultimately, what is happening? This is all numbers, right? Some plotting done on numbers. Okay, it has that intelligence to it because it has the component of AI. That is one thing. But if you want to actually, understand the chat that is happening on the application, that chat needs to be mapped with some number. So before directly visualizing it, some modification with the data needs to be done. Okay, how you do that is on you. Okay, I can just say that you need to map, but what is that mapping? There is something that is decided by the other features also, right? Other parameters are also there. That mapping will depend on.
Okay, sir.
There is a lot to explore. I might not be able to answer this completely to you, but just give you an idea of what can be done.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Sir, I was trying to access that lab, and I forgot from where do we get that link to the lab? I saved it yesterday.
It's MS Learn on Demand. Just type it. You will be able to. It is a scalable thing. Right? I mean, I don't remember the link. I can probably share it.
I was trying to check my emails and see how I got that yesterday, but
Probably it was. I'll give one link here. Yeah, so there is one link given to you. You can try that. I am probably sharing the same thing. Yeah, same thing.
oh yeah, right. And we can register with the training key or
with the training keys.
okay. So this is what I was looking for. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Okay, now we'll quickly go through the last part of this session, that is Power Virtual Agents. Okay, so what is Power Virtual Agents used for? I mean, I can just say in one word, it is used for creating chatbots with the help of AI. Okay, one statement answer, that's it. Then Power Virtual Agents. Okay, but let's see what are the features of it. So in this module, we will describe the features, again, the values and features of Power Virtual Agents and some essential components of Power Virtual Agents. All right. So here, what Power Virtual Agents is trying to do, it is trying to empower your team. I mean, how does it do that? It adds that component of virtual chatbots, which will take care of customer needs based on the model where the information is going, right? So I keep on asking questions. It will relate that question to previously asked questions in the model, right? Come up with the answer and give you the answer, right? So it is incorporating that AI component in your application. Okay. It is reducing cost, not sure how, but what it is trying to do is when you have a component of chatbot to answer your queries related to some businesses, you don't need expertise or you don't need expert personnel to do that for you. So you don't need people who are coming from that particular background to answer, right? So you don't need to hire them, somewhere reducing the personal cost. Okay, let us go to the highlights of Power Virtual Agents, right? So it is very quick to start. First thing, it empowers your subject matter expert. How? Because if there are people who are very into the business, they are experienced with the business, it will help them to communicate with the customers better, right? It will enable rich natural conversations, right? So we are using the same natural language processing. It will use that model to understand what the question is and be able to answer it better, right? With the help of chatbots, right? And then every time, every question that is actually asked as a query is actually improving the performance because it is getting added to the database where the model is trained on, right? So ultimately, it is a positive feedback process. The more queries it gets, the better it becomes, the intelligent it becomes. Okay. So what are the components? The first component is topics. So basically it categorizes the complete chat into topic. So what kind of topics will there be? A simple topic, as you can see here, a simple topic with a condition, a topic with a condition, variables, and a topic with more than condition and variables, things like that. So it keeps on, creating that hierarchy of what the topic is, whether it is simple topic, it is topic with condition. If there are conditions, what are the possible pathways of leading a conversation. So this is where it all starts with, right? Then there are topics like user topics and system topics, topics related to customer, topics related to the machine itself or the application itself, right? Okay, then there is something called as entities. Okay, so these entities can be viewed as an information unit that represents a certain type of real world subject. Okay, you need to these entities are actually mapping with something that is more of real world thing, right? So a phone number, a zip code, these are physical entities, these are physical things that exist, right? Person's name, these are physical things that exist. So it is actually mapping your query with a real world physical entity, right? There are pre-built entities, which of one of them is the number, the zip code, all these things. These are pre-built entities. Okay, and then power virtual agents can be used to trigger actions also, right? So when I ask a question, I want that question to be saved as a data, saved into the database, right? So when I want that question to be saved into database, I want to automate this process. I don't want to do it manually every time a question is being asked, right? So when I want to do it with an automated process, I can create that question or mark that question as a trigger for an action. What that action will be? That action will be to save the same question, take the same question and save it on the database, right? So actions is one of the components, can act as one of the components of virtual agents, right? So what are we looking at? We're looking at topics, we're looking at entities, and we're looking at actions. Okay, and finally we want this components to get published. Okay, so once they are published, they can come to front facing, they can come to client side where client or users can interact with them, right? So there is this component of analytics involved, the questions coming, everything that is coming to the chatbot or virtual agent is actually getting saved into a database. That is one thing, and then getting saved into the model also, where it is run against a model and a proper response to that is coming out, right? So that is happening with publish. So when you publish, you actually make your chatbot available for the users to interact. Okay, so once that is done, what I can do is I can link it with websites, right? So whenever I open a website, a chatbot keeps on appearing from here, which is annoying sometimes, right? Same thing with mobile applications. Facebook, so if I chat with when I interact with Facebook with some of its features, I can have that data going into their machine learning model and helping them to give better answers, right? One example of that would be you ran into some trouble with signing up. Okay, so it gives you suggestion on what could have gone wrong, right? So those suggestions keep on updating based on what are the possible scenarios there are, right? Similar with Microsoft Teams, Skype, Cortana. So I search something here like this, okay, and I should be able to searching everything here should go into a model. This is where I am incorporating my virtual agent with this Bing app, right? So everything that I put in will be processed at the backend at the model side, and then some insights can be created from that, right? So all these things are applications where I can publish my chatbot, which will take the same inputs that I'm giving in through these applications will be taken as a what we call will be taken as a input to the model and then processed, right? So just there is a small overview of this virtual agents. We are already done with this. Just wanted to highlight some important component, that is topics, entities, and actions. Okay. Any issues in virtual agents? We have gone very superficially on this, but at this point that is only required. Okay. Going into details of this would require some understanding of machine learning models. Okay. Any issues at this point? Yes, Shahid.
Sir, please go on topic some more in detail. Topics.
I mean, topics.
Yeah.
Okay, let this side load. Right. So see, what happens is, let's say I want to create a chatbot based on some units, right? So I want to specify. I need to first specify whether a complete coming request or coming query belonging to some topics. Okay, and then based on that, certain action can be taken. Right. So for example, if a simple topic can be what tell me about this site. Okay, this can be a simple topic. I'm talking about a query asked to a chatbot. Okay, tell me about this site, or tell me about this feature, tell me about that feature. That is a simple topic. Okay, a condition is, if I try to add condition, what that condition is, I am a BTech graduate, will I be able to do this? So there is a condition added. Okay, so we are trying to process this language, and you see that there is a condition here in the language, right? I am a BTech graduate, will I be able to do this? Right, so there is a condition based topic that is being created. Okay, and then the chatbot will reflect this topic, this text to a different topic. What that topic would be? A simple topic, that is this course, you want to enroll to this course, but there is a condition, he is a BTech graduate, that's all. Okay, now what is the other condition with variables? Okay, I am a BTech graduate, I want to enroll to PL 900 course of this PL 900 course of this environment. Okay, so I want to learn, take certifications from Microsoft, but I want to take certification only in PL 900. So I'm adding a variable here. Okay, and the condition is I am still a BTech graduate. All right, so you are now breaking the complete statement, the complete query into pieces, and classifying it based on what things are there in the query. Okay, and then transferring it to topics. Okay, so what are these topics basically doing? These topics are basically dealing the query in different way. Okay, if the simple topic, it might not require a lot of processing at the back end, right? But a topic with condition might require somewhat processing. A topic with condition and variable will require more processing. So it is reducing the time. Why? Because if I if I give a simple query to a very high level processing, it will unnecessarily take time. Okay, so that is what we are trying to say with topics. So based on the language that you put in, the language is broken down into chunks, and based on that pieces, it is what we call, it is trying to identify which one is the simple topic here, which one is the condition here, and what are the variables. Get this? Again, highly superficial, but you don't need to worry about going into details of this part particularly. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, got it. So can I say it is some advanced or modified form of thread like in Discord?
Advanced modified form of thread. Yeah, you can call it. See, there is an AI component involved. Discourse,
Yeah.
I'm not sure to what extent it is using AI. Okay, the replies that you get are physical instructors who are replying, right?
Yeah.
So here you are getting, the responses are created and generated from the AI.
I mean, topic, the same type of query goes into a single topic.
Sorry.
The same type of query from the user, it goes to a single topic.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Later on, that once the classification is made, then it becomes easy for the chatbot to reply.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what, right? Every query being made is actually contributing to make the model intelligent. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, I end this piece of session, the piece of workshop on Power Platform. If there are any queries, you can visit the teams and post your queries with, okay, regarding the content, regarding the lab, and also the operational ones. Okay, so I end my content from my side. If there are queries, you can just raise your hand and we can go ahead for some time.
Sir, we have lab on virtual agent. Huh?
No, we don't have lab on that.
Okay.
Okay, so you might not have doubt at this point, but when you go through labs and everything, you go to the content. If there are more doubts, you can just ping us on through the community. Okay. Yes, sure.
Sir, my plan is to take at least a certification, probably in a month or so. And there is a document that was initially shared, that's a PPT. Let me take that, sir. That says, I think, certification, something it says. So can I just follow the steps in that to go with the certification?
Yeah, definitely.
Will the items covered in the sessions will be sufficient to pass the certification, or do you think some additional effort is also required?
No. I mean, you probably these videos, like these sessions that we had, there are also some content on YouTube. Okay.
Okay.
If time permits, you can go through. Otherwise, I don't think that is required.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll be sharing these slides, and the sessions will be anyway available to you. So I guess that should be okay.
Oh, that'll do it. Okay. All right.
So, but if the time permits, you can go through external resources. There are, videos made on the same resource on YouTube.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, sir. I'm repeating whatever I said again. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate the sessions.
All right. Yes, Ashik.
Yeah, sir. So similar doubts, like Sharad's. After completing all the labs, we have to register for the certification exam, right? And then will it ask for any approvals that whether the labs are completed or not, something like that? How to go about, as in after the completion of labs?
I mean, yeah.
what
So I
would
don't
be the
think it
next
has
procedure?
anything to do with the labs. Labs are there. See, we have created this course.
Okay.
Okay. So this course is created. We've given you training keys. So we are expecting that some, some inputs are given from the student side. So labs make sure that you went through the content and you did something.
Yeah.
Okay, but the content that you are getting from the website of Microsoft as a course, right? When you log in, and the videos that is available on YouTube, this session, the slides that we are giving should be something that you should refer to for course. You can register for the examination separately from the portal, I guess.
Okay. So those slides that you have shared are they can guide us to the certification examination.
Yeah. So
right?
I guess the slides that we are sharing now, just give me a minute, also have this component of notes. Okay, so when I click on notes, it gives you some idea on what is there. You see this bottom?
Right. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
this
you
is
go
about
through
the
these.
content. I was actually asking about the certifications slides. Will they are they enough to guide us to register for the examination and all?
Yeah, I think so. If there are any specific doubt, you can ask on community.
Okay, sure. And I assume that the labs that we do will be sort of preparation for the exam, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Or,
They will help you a lot.
okay. And the examinations will be of objective types similar to our IIT Madras quizzes, or it will be on the virtual environment, as in we have to create the applications and all.
No, it will be objective.
Okay.
It will be objective as far as I know. Is there anybody who has taken the course, who has taken the certification, done the certification of the course, can reply to this question?
Okay, sure. And thank you so much, sir, for the sessions. You explained it very well, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so there are no more questions. Shall we close the session? We'll share you the link, the resources accordingly. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll close it here. Oh, Shahid, you have a question.
Sir, I have given the exam of DP 900 clear certificate, DP 900.
Okay.
And the questions are totally objective. I mean, same as the in quiz. We have in IITM like quiz. Okay. And one thing I want to know is that for there are total 8 certification and that we have to access after student verification.
Okay.
So, and in this workshop we get a mail that to access the voucher there should be 90% attendance is mandatory. So I just want to know do we have to, I mean, you have to provide us a different voucher or the same process that we have followed for the DP 900?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nikita, would you like
Shahid.
to-
So So Shahid, it's the same process that you had followed last time. The process to go about taking the vouchers is the same. It's the same for all the exams. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Shahid, like if you have already taken the DP 900 course before, I see like this time also many students are facing with academic verification. So if you can help them out a little on the teams, it will be good.
Okay,
I would
ma'am.
request all of you who has done this before, like please help out each other in the process.
I will be happy to help them.
Yeah, thanks, Shahid. Yeah.
Yes, Ashik.
Yeah, sir. So I have registered yesterday. So so simply we have to just log into MSLE, that website that sir has shared. Register with the training key, and it will ask for your name. It will ask to register a password and your email ID. So there you have to enter your student email ID. That is the latest one, ds.study.iitm.ac.in, and then it directly enables the course for you. It does not ask for academic verification and all, as in it happened for me at least yesterday. So there is no academic verification required, as in some people were trying to submit their ID cards and all. So that procedure was not, I had not done that procedure because it directly took me to the course of PL 900 simply by our student email ID, that is ds.study. Yeah.
Ashik, this is just to get the access to the course, right? But in order to write the exam and for you to get the discount on the voucher, you need to go through the process. Otherwise, you won't get the discount. So you must have, like we have shared one slide with you that is claim student certification. So the step-by-step process is given to you. Just follow those steps and you will get like how to get
so
the
this academic
vouchers.
verification is required later
To get the
maybe.
discounted vouchers. Yes, if you want to write the exam and you want the discounted vouchers, then in that case it will help.
All right. Yeah. So I had not registered for the examination for the Azure workshop. That is why I don't know this procedure then. Yeah.
Just to follow that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have shared my email ID, and if anyone wants some help or guidance, I will be happy.
Sure. You're on Teams, no, Shahid?
Yeah, I am on team.
Okay, so maybe you can just, if somebody has doubt, you can just put it there. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody?
Yes, actually, as somebody has raised, I can see there are multiple courses in that certification which we are allowed to. So, are we allowed to take all of them, or we are only restricted for PL 900?
No, you can go ahead and do more courses. So, we are doing the workshop for PL 900, but if you are comfortable doing the courses on your own, just go ahead and take the certifications.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Shahid is okay.
Ma'am, in December we have workshop on Azure,
Azure
Fundamental and
DP 900. Yeah.
DP 900. Now this time it is on PL 900.
Right.
Is there any other workshop on the line?
Yeah, we are planning to have. We'll update you on that part. We are planning to have more workshops.
on Azure on this 8 certification.
Yes.
I
And
mean, we have
later
covered
we'll
3.
be planning, later we will do something in the front of advanced courses once we are done with fundamentals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Lakshmi Nandan, yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, so I think after a period of 6 months after getting the initial certification, we have to recertify, I think, the AZ900.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, I think we have to renew our certifications after a period of time, right?
Okay, I'm not sure about it. I will just confirm and let you know.
Okay, I thought I read a sentence somewhere like while doing registering and doing the exam, like somewhere it was said like you have to after 6 months or 1 year you have to take the exam again, or I'm not sure, but
And no, Lakshmi Nandan, I'm not sure about it right now. I will check and confirm you. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, Krishna and Shahid. Krishna, go ahead. Krishna, you have anything to say?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I was going through the grading documents. It was mentioned
Okay.
that BSW people like the pod team, they have done the collaboration with Microsoft and Google also for these kind of workshops. So can
Right.
we expect something from Google side also, like some kind of certifications?
Yeah, like it's still under the process.
Okay.
So it will come in few months. It will come in few months.
Okay, ma'am. And
Yeah.
ma'am, like one more thing, like it's just one thing I just want to say, because we have so many people in this program, right? And whenever the form comes out, so like we have really limited time, or like really like small number of people who can actually participate in these kind of workshops. So if it's possible, I mean, like for more opportunities for more people, if the numbers can be increased, then it will be really great for many people in the program.
Yeah, so the number we have already kept it high, 500. And like, see, even though we keep it 500, not 500 will show up. So
Yeah.
from our side, we want more and more people to come, but we don't see a lot of participation later. So
Okay.
that is why. When we want more people to come in and take the certifications. So
Okay, ma'am.
this is the workshop that we have planned from our side. So later that we expect you to just go ahead and take certifications and look out for more courses if you're interested in, and just do it on your own.
Sure.
Right?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so somebody just confirm, Anup, that renewal does not apply to fundamental courses. So you're good with, if you have done some certification fundamentals, you don't have to renew it again. Anybody else?
Yeah, I guess that should be it.
Yeah.
I don't see any other hand raised. So thanks everyone. Thanks for joining and attending these sessions till the end. And we'll see. I mean, we'll hope to have more of these. And I guess that should be it, right? Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll end the session here. And with that, we'll end this workshop.
Yeah. Thanks, Adarsh. Thanks, Nalini, for taking the session. Thank you all for joining. Hope you all enjoyed. Just keep learning and do the certification. Yeah. Thank you.